Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. The 4th of July is just days away, and if you're planning on having some fun with fireworks, we have some expert advice on what is and isn't allowed. Big Fox's Maggie Hall is here now with some important holiday reminders.
Celebrating the 4th of July can be a blast, but it can also be dangerous if you aren't careful. New York State has certain guidelines to keep you safe. Even the littlest of fireworks, sparklers, burn at 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So what fireworks can you use in New York? Here in the Empire State, only ground-based fireworks are legal. This includes sparklers, party poppers, and snappers. Visit your local firework tents like the ones owned by the Burlew family at the Watkins Glen and Painted Post Walmart. These tents seem to have it all that's legal, that is.
So we got some fountains. We don't have aerials, sadly. We wish we did because everyone wants them and that'd really help. But New York is New York, so.
All aerial fireworks, skyrockets, and Roman candles are illegal in New York. If you're caught setting off illegal fireworks, the charges can range from disorderly conduct to reckless endangerment, a serious felony charge. If you do decide to use fireworks this year, here's some reminders from experts on how to keep you and your family safe. Safety experts recommend that you follow these guidelines to stay injury-free this 4th. You can visit nfpa.org/fireworks for more fireworks safety information. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Southern Tier.
The Blue Star Museums program is right here in Corning, and the Corning Museum of Glass offers free admission to all active duty military and their families. This will be available to families until Labor Day. Sports fans in the Southern Tier could be in for something big. A new professional lacrosse league is starting up, and there's a chance Elmira will get a team. The Professional Box Lacrosse Association, or PBLA, just announced the launch of its inaugural season. The commissioner of the league, who is also the president of First Arena, spoke to Big Fox today. Steve Donner told us the official team cities will be announced on July 19th, and there has been a very big push to get a team here in Elmira. The league hopes the rise of lacrosse in New York, especially on the college level, will mean plenty of interest and a pool of potential players. It's a big year so far for the Elmira Farmers Market in Windsor Park. The vendor at one stand told Big Fox that they've seen more people this year than any other year. The rising prices of groceries seems to be driving more and more people to the farmers markets. The vendor also believes the fresher products are helping to bring in more customers. The Elmira Farmers Market features live music, local vendors, and food trucks. The farmers market lines one block of North Main Street and is open every Thursday from 10 to 2 until September 29th. The Supreme Court announcing 2 remaining opinions before going on recess for the summer. The 2 cases they ruled on today involve immigration and the environment. Thursday also marked Justice Stephen Breyer's final day on the court. His successor, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, was sworn in this afternoon. Mike Emanuel has the latest details from Washington.
The Supreme Court siding with President Biden and his immigration policies. In a 5-4 ruling Thursday, the court sided with his administration in its pursuit of ending the Remain in Mexico policy, which mandates asylum seekers arriving at the southern border to wait in Mexico until their cases are heard.
This is devastating for the state of Texas and the United States of America.
Late last year, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas issued a memo to formally end the policy, arguing it had, quote, endemic flaws and unjustifiable human costs. But an appeals court ruled against the administration.
The Biden administration eked out a victory here. It's not too surprising with the lineup. This is a classic Roberts decision. It's accommodating, it's narrow. And he brought along Justice Kavanaugh here.
The court had ruled against the administration on a number of consequential decisions this term. And today in Spain, President Biden criticized the high court for last week's abortion decision.
The one thing that has been destabilizing is the outrageous behavior of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Thursday also marked Justice Stephen Breyer's retirement after serving nearly 28 years on the Supreme Court bench. His successor, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first black woman ever to serve on the high court, will be sworn in right away. The court also issued a ruling undercutting the EPA's ability to regulate greenhouse gas emissions. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
A woman pushing a stroller with a 3-month-old on Manhattan's Upper East Side is shot and killed. It happened last night. The New York City Police Commissioner says a man approached the woman from behind and shot her in the head. The victim was 20 years old. The baby was not hurt, but was taken to a hospital as a precaution. A source tells Fox that police are investigating this shooting as a domestic violence incident. Disgraced R&B singer R. Kelly gets slammed with 30 years in federal prison after prosecutors painted him as a man who ran an elaborate scheme to lure children into sex. Laura Ingle has more on the story.
Embattled R&B singer R. Kelly will spend 30 years in a federal prison on charges of racketeering and sex trafficking. Judge Ann Donnelly imposed the sentence on Kelly after prosecutors called for a sentence of 25 years to life in prison. Survivors of Kelly's abuse gathered outside the court after the ruling was handed down.
I stand here very proud of my judicial system, very proud of my fellow survivors, and very pleased with the outcome.
I never thought that I would be here to see him be held accountable for the atrocious things that he did.
Prosecutors say Kelly used his celebrity status for more than 2 decades to groom, exploit, and sexually abuse young girls, boys, and women. Kelly was convicted last September and was the subject of a 2019 documentary, Surviving R. Kelly. In that documentary, dozens of victims spoke out on Kelly's manipulation and abuse, dating as far back as the 1990s.
Together, they were able to fight his power by becoming empowered young women themselves, who refused to be intimidated by him and his enablers.
Kelly's attorney says they plan to appeal, arguing their client got an excessive sentence and claims the judge didn't consider the singer's traumatic childhood.
This is just the beginning of the fight, frankly. So we were prepared going in for today, and he's doing okay with it.
Kelly's legal woes are not over. He faces federal child pornography charges in Chicago, as well as state charges in Illinois and Minnesota. In New York, Laura Ingle, Fox News.
Your complete forecast is next, plus this.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, we are flipping that calendar page over to July as we head into your Friday forecast. I'm meteorologist Alyssa Triplett, and as we look at the precipitation month to date, it was a soaking forecast for Binghamton up towards Syracuse. But you can see as you step over a bit, there were some pockets of those high red reflectivities, with other pockets, especially towards the Finger Lakes, staying a bit more dry. So we'll have to keep an eye on some of the precipitation numbers that we see as we head into July, as we even see that Rochester was behind average by almost over an inch, and then we see Erie as well, just around 2 inches behind average. Now, what we will track for our forecast is going to be some showers. Now, overall, we did keep a quieter last day of June as we stayed under that blue sky through much of the day, seen here earlier today into Binghamton. But when we look at the overnight forecast, what we'll see is temperatures will keep under those clear skies, with lows falling into those mid-60s. But it is going to be warmer than it has been the last few mornings. We have been watching the 50s for lows, but it's the warmer bubble that is working its way in, as it is going to be hot and sunny for your Friday, as high temperatures will be back into those 80s and even 90s possible. Now, that is going to bring some instability. That is going to spark up some storms Friday night and linger those into Saturday. A few storms will have the potential to bring some severe capabilities, mainly some larger hail and some gusty winds if any of those storms do develop, with some brief downpours. But behind that system, as we clear out into your Saturday evening, we are looking to head into a pleasant weekend before rain does look to return into early parts of next work week. But when we head head into that planner forecast for your Friday, we continue to see that sunshine. Highs will strike those 90s, and then storms will become possible towards that evening commute with a more likely chance through the overnight. So the Elmira Corning area is under that marginal risk all the way through the Finger Lakes. Again, main risk will be larger hail and some gusty winds with those brief downpours. And rolling through forecasts, we see that we continue that sunshine around, and then some isolated storms start to develop into the evening hours with those strong capabilities. And then we continue to see that influx of some showers and thunderstorms pushing through into your early Saturday morning before we'll gradually clear out those skies by Saturday afternoon. And then by Saturday, if you do plan to do any traveling, it does look like there are some stronger storms that are moving their way towards the New York area and up through Connecticut. So do keep yourself aware of stronger storms moving their way off to the east, especially if you're traveling throughout the day on Saturday. Precipitation accumulation through Saturday does show anywhere from 1/10 of an inch upwards of about 1/2 inch. So a little bit of rainfall, not a soaking forecast, but some good rainfall that we need for this time of the year. Temperature-wise, we are looking at those upper 80s, flirting with that 90-degree mark, or even a few locations in the Finger Lakes may be able to strike that 90-degree day. And then as we head into that Saturday forecast, temperatures are going to be dwindling just a bit behind that system into those lower 80s. And then extending into that 7-day forecast, we stay comfortable under sunshine Sunday. There is a small chance for storms on Monday, but trending drier for sure there with a high of 83. And then it will become more likely to talk about some showers and thunderstorms starting Tuesday and then lingering into middle parts of next work week.
The drama involving the airline merger between Spirit and Frontier will be stretched out for at least another week. Big job cuts in Big Pharma, and Elon Musk hits a social media milestone. CJ Papa has those stories and more in today's Fox Business Briefs.
Spirit Airlines is postponing its vote on a merger with Frontier Group Holdings to continue discussions with Frontier and JetBlue Airways. It will now hold the merger vote July 8th. Spirit and Frontier agreed to merge in February. JetBlue topped Frontier's offer, which has led to a bidding war. Pharmaceutical giant Novartis is slashing as many as 8,000 jobs worldwide. The move, all part of a restructuring plan to save the Swiss company $1 billion in costs. The plan includes integrating its pharmaceutical and oncology business units into one. The new division will be called Innovative Medicine. Nexstar Media Group is close to finalizing a deal to take majority control of the CW network from co-owners Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount. Under the terms, the nation's biggest owner of local television stations would acquire 75% of the CW, with Paramount and Warner Brothers retaining 12.5%. Both studios are expected to continue to make content for the CW, which is aimed primarily at teens and young adults. And finally, Elon Musk reaching a major milestone on Twitter, the billionaire surpassing 100 million followers earlier this week. Musk's $44 billion bid to buy the platform hitting a snag after he threatened to walk away from the deal over questions about bot accounts. CJ Papa, Fox News.
The pandemic contributed to a semiconductor chip shortage, making everyday products harder to find and more expensive. Now, to prevent a similar crisis from happening in the future, Intel is preparing to create a multi-billion-dollar chip plant in Ohio. But as Ashley Stromier learns, it's coming at a cost to the people who live there.
Before the pandemic, semiconductor chips may have never crossed your mind, but they're key to powering cell phones, computers, cars, and other objects you probably use every day. But as COVID-19 restrictions began upending the plants that manufacture them, it created a chip shortage, resulting in fewer electronics in vehicles being made and sending prices through the roof. Now, to help prevent another shortage from plaguing the country, Intel is preparing to build a massive $20 billion semiconductor manufacturing center in Ohio on land that President Biden says is perfect for the project.
20 miles east of Columbus, Ohio, you'll find 1,000 empty acres of land.
But while it's very rural,
you can see it's not vacant land.
The land in Johnstown, Ohio that Intel wants to build on is inhabited by Tressie Corsi and more than 50 other homeowners.
The guy came out and talked to us, and I said, no, I'm not selling my home. And then he said, well, there'll be factories all around you.
Officials at Intel say everyone, including Corsi, was bought out and not forcibly removed from their land, with holding companies offering them more money than the market value of their property. And while the Intel project is expected to create more than 3,000 full-time jobs in the area, many are sad the progress is coming at their expense. Intel's chip plant is expected to be completed by 2025, but the company's CEO says plans may be delayed, citing Congress's inability to pass the CHIPS Act, which would provide important subsidies. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Ford has issued the first ever recall for its F-150 Lightning electric pickup truck. The truck is being recalled over an issue over sensors monitoring tire pressure. The company says the system light may not illuminate when intended and could fail to provide adequate warning. More than 2,600 models in the U.S. are being recalled, with affected owners receiving notifications from Ford and their dealers. A fix to the issue can be handled at the dealership or via a software update available coming within 30 days. The heat of wildfire season is coming, and the U.S. Forest Service is worried it might not be prepared. That story just ahead. The heat of wildfire season is coming, and the U.S. Forest Service is worried it might not be prepared. Jake Karalexis has more on the intense training process some of the latest recruits are going through to get them ready for another busy season.
That's right. The U.S. saw a record number of wildfires last year. This year is on track to be even busier, and the Forest Service is doing whatever it can to find firefighters and train them in time. You're looking at the next group of wildland firefighters in Washington State.
We have to be flexible and adapt to an ever-changing situation and kind of be ready to move.
Soon, Luciana Labadie and her team will be ready to go anywhere in the country to fight wildfires. But making it to that point is tough.
You're out there working really long days and all kinds of adverse conditions.
And finding people to train might be even harder.
There's a national hiring effort to help increase our firefighters.
Mike Davis helps find new wildland firefighters each year.
Take less, pass it on.
Take less. He says right now is a hard time to recruit.
We'll start at the local schools here, at the high schools, trying to recruit our entry-level positions.
But it can be a tough sell.
Swinging.
Going into this season, I did not have housing offered to me as part of this position. The nearest towns that do or may offer housing are either pretty far commute or have pretty steep rates.
And those sacrifices are why Davis has had to look everywhere to try to find enough people.
It's a pretty hard job, and especially, when we talk about, a fast food chain that you can get paid $15 an hour.
There were almost 60,000 wildfires in the U.S. each of the last 2 years. Labadie says she hopes enough people join her in the fight to protect property and save lives.
It's kind of an ongoing uphill climb that we're facing.
Earlier this year, a federal law increased the starting salary for entry-level firefighters by up to $20,000 to try and help recruitment. That brings the average salary to around $60,000. In Seattle, Jake Karalexis, Fox News.
The FBI is issuing a warning about cyber criminals using digitally altered videos to apply for remote jobs. The agency said it's received an increasing number of complaints relating to the use of deep fakes and says during on-camera interviews, the action and lip movement of the applicants do not match. The FBI said it's also received complaints of stolen personally identifiable information, which criminals can use to pass pre-employment background checks. The jobs are often in tech fields, which can give cyber criminals access to customers' financial information. Literacy experts are sharing some helpful tips for parents who are struggling to get their kids to turn off the video games and pick up a book this summer. They suggest finding books that your child will find appealing. Books that have action and adventure are good choices for kids who like video games. They say it's important to embrace different kinds of books and make it fun. Parents can also mix it up by encouraging their kids to write or draw their own stories, having them read out loud, and asking their kids open-ended questions about a book. Stay with us. We'll have more after the break. We want to leave you with a smile. This bowling alley has a futuristic server to help customers. Bella is a server robot created to deliver food and sing to visitors in Clearwater, Florida. The innovative helper not only delivers food, but also gives all the customers an unforgettable experience. Singing to them happy birthday, the happy birthday mode can be programmed with a simple app. The server not only can deliver pizza, but can direct customers to their bowling lane and can even be programmed to celebrate their bowling game. From our whole team, thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Manuel. We hope you have a great rest of your day.